His attitude, personality, and character shone through every lyric.
For almost a full year after the heartbreaking death of country legend Toby Keith in February 2024, his wife, Tricia Lucus, kept quiet. Fans wondered what she was going through and why she chose not to make any public comments. After all, she had been by Toby's side for 4 decades, through every high and low, every concert, and every hospital visit during his fight with cancer. Her silence was not just noticed, it was deeply felt. Then, at Toby Keith's Country Music Hall of Fame ceremony, everything changed. Tricia finally broke her silence, delivering an emotional 16-minute speech that left the audience in shock. She revealed details about their marriage, their private struggles, and Toby's last days, things no one had ever heard before. She even read words he had written on a napkin during his chemo treatments, giving fans one final glimpse into his heart. Her voice trembled as she spoke about the man she loved, and the room sat in complete silence, hanging on to every word. This moment was not just a speech, it was a window into Toby Keith's soul, shared by the woman who knew him best. To truly understand why Tricia's words carried so much weight, we must first look back at the life of the man she loved. Toby Keith Covell was born on July 8, 1961, in Clinton, Oklahoma. His father, Hubert, worked in the oil fields and served in the military, while his mother, Carolyn, had once dreamed of becoming a singer. Life was not easy for the family. They didn't have much money, but they had a strong sense of love and determination. Toby grew up with one sister and one brother in a working-class home, learning early the value of hard work. One of the biggest influences on his life was his grandmother, Hilda. She ran a supper club where country music filled the air almost every night. Young Toby spent his summers there, watching bands perform, sweeping floors, and sometimes even joining musicians on stage. When Hilda gave him his first guitar at just 8 years old, a seed was planted that would grow into a lifelong passion. For Toby, music wasn't just entertainment, it was part of his identity. Those early nights in his grandmother's club lit the fire that would carry him through the struggles to come. By the late 1970s, life seemed steady for Toby. After graduating high school in 1979, he started working in the oil fields. At just 18 years old, he was making around $50,000 a year, a huge income for someone his age. But the job was grueling and dangerous, with long hours under the hot Oklahoma sun and constant risks of accidents. At night, he lived a completely different life, playing small gigs with his band, Easy Money, in bars across Oklahoma and Texas. Those shows often paid just a few dollars, sometimes only enough for gas money. Still, Toby kept singing. Then, in 1982, disaster struck. The oil industry collapsed, and thousands of workers lost their jobs, including Toby's father. The sudden crash shook their family's world, and Toby was left with no choice but to throw himself fully into music. With no oil job to fall back on, he faced uncertainty and poverty, but he also discovered the drive that would define him. He played over 200 shows a year, driving through dusty towns, sleeping in vans, and often going home with nothing. It was a tough way to live, but it shaped him into the performer who could handle any stage, any crowd, and any challenge. Toby's first real shot at success came in 1984 when he spent his last savings to record a demo tape. Excited and hopeful, he took it to Nashville, only to be rejected. Record labels told him his songs weren't good enough, and a shady promoter even scammed him out of $10,000. Broken, embarrassed, and nearly out of hope, Toby thought about quitting music. But he refused to give up. Instead, he returned to small garage studios, refining his style, a mix of traditional country and southern rock. Years later, a lucky break changed everything. A flight attendant who admired his music passed his demo tape to Harold Shedd, a well-known producer. At first, Shedd wasn't impressed, but after seeing Toby perform live, he knew he had found something special. In 1993, Toby finally released his debut album. The single Should Have Been a Cowboy, famously written in just 20 minutes in a motel bathroom, became the most played country song of the 1990s. Almost overnight, Toby Keith went from a struggling bar singer to a platinum-selling artist. But even then, the battles weren't over. The Nashville music industry is known for shaping artists into commercial products, and Toby Keith quickly discovered this harsh reality. His label wanted him to wear suits, sing radio-friendly pop country, and fit into the mold they believed would sell. Toby refused. He famously told them, "I'm going to go down with my own ship." He was determined to stay authentic, even if it cost him his career. Eventually, he teamed up with producer James Stroud, who allowed him to record the kind of music he wanted. This decision not only saved his career but also solidified his reputation as one of the most authentic voices in country music. By the late 1990s, he was filling arenas, opening for major stars, and selling millions of albums. His 1999 hit "How Do You Like Me Now" revived his career and stayed at #1 for 5 weeks. The song wasn't just a hit, it was a declaration of independence, proof that Toby's refusal to bend had paid off. Fans connected to his honesty, his grit, and his refusal to play by the rules. Toby Keith's career wasn't just about music, it was about standing his ground. After the 9/11 attacks, he released Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, a fiery anthem that divided the nation. The song's blunt line, "We'll put a boot in your ass, it's the American way," sparked heated debates. While some critics called it ignorant, millions of Americans embraced it as a raw expression of patriotism. Toby's feud with Natalie Maines of the Chicks became headline news, and his refusal to censor himself led to clashes with media figures like Peter Jennings. But Toby wasn't afraid of controversy. He saw himself as someone who spoke the truth, even when it upset people. At the same time, he was deeply committed to supporting U.S. troops, performing over 200 USO shows and visiting war zones in Iraq and Afghanistan. Despite receiving threats, he continued singing for soldiers in some of the most dangerous conditions imaginable. His music and actions made him not just a star, but also a voice for many Americans who felt their pride and struggles reflected in his songs. Behind the fame and controversy, Toby Keith's personal life told another story, one of love and devotion. He met Tricia Lucus long before he became famous, back when he was still an oil field worker and small-town musician. They married on March 24, 1984, and she stood by him even when others told her he should give up music. Their marriage lasted 39 years, until his final day. The date March 24 carried a heavy mix of joy and sorrow for the family. It was both their wedding anniversary and the day his father tragically died in a car accident in 2001. Toby and Tricia had 3 children, Shelley, Crystal, and Stellan. Through it all, family remained his anchor. Even when his business ventures struggled, like his chain of restaurants that eventually collapsed due to lawsuits and tax issues, his family kept him grounded. Tricia was more than just a wife, she was his partner in every sense, and in his darkest days, she became his caregiver, researcher, and fiercest supporter. In 2021, at the height of his touring success, Toby began feeling an unusual burning in his stomach. He ignored it at first, thinking it was stress, but by October doctors found a tumor the size of a plum. It was stomach cancer. At first, he kept it private, going through surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation quietly. By June 2022, he revealed the diagnosis to fans with just 5 simple words, "So far, so good." But in truth, the fight was brutal. His weight dropped dramatically, his strength faded, and simple tasks like breathing and eating became struggles. Yet, Toby never stopped making music. In August 2023, with oxygen tubes still attached, he recorded a raw demo of "Don't Let the Old Man In." Later that year, he stunned the world by performing at the People's Choice Country Awards, holding himself up by the mic stand but still managing to bring the crowd to tears. He pushed himself to perform 2 shows in Las Vegas in December, giving fans one final taste of the energy that defined him. His fight was not just against cancer, it was against the idea of giving up. Throughout his battle, Tricia was his constant source of strength. Just days after his diagnosis, she threw herself into medical research, tracking trials, organizing schedules, and convincing doctors to give Toby access to new treatments. Nurses called her Sergeant Mom, a title she wore proudly. Her dedication extended beyond medicine, she kept Toby motivated with charts, notes, and encouragement, reminding him daily of the goals he had set. Even as his body grew weaker, her faith in him never wavered. On February 5, 2024, Toby passed away at home in Oklahoma. His family gathered around him, and fittingly, "Should Have Been a Cowboy" was playing as he took his last breath. Fans around the world mourned, and tributes poured in. But it was Tricia's silence that remained the most powerful. She chose to grieve privately, waiting until the Hall of Fame ceremony to finally speak. When she did, her words carried the weight of love, loss, and a lifetime of memories. She reminded the world that behind the superstar was a husband, a father, and a man who never stopped fighting. Toby Keith's story is not just about his rise to fame, his hits, or his controversies. It is about resilience, authenticity, and love. His wife's speech reminded fans that Toby was more than a performer. He was a man who lived fully, gave generously, and stood by his beliefs no matter the cost. From his humble beginnings in Oklahoma to his platinum albums and worldwide recognition, Toby carried with him the lessons of his upbringing: work hard, stay true, and never give up. His legacy continues through his songs, his family, and the many lives he touched, from soldiers overseas to fans who found hope in his lyrics. And now, through the voice of his wife, his story has a new chapter, one of remembrance, love, and truth. Even in death, Toby Keith remains larger than life, a symbol of grit and heart. And thanks to Tricia Lucus's powerful words, the world now knows not just the legend, but the man behind it all. Toby Keith's journey began long before he became a household name. Growing up in a working-class family, he learned early the value of hard work, perseverance, and family. His father's job in the oil fields was demanding and dangerous, yet it provided a stable foundation for the family. Toby's mother, Carolyn, carried a love for music, which she passed on to her son. But it was his grandmother Hilda who truly shaped his future. Her supper club in Fort Smith, Arkansas, was filled with live country music almost every night. Young Toby spent countless hours there, soaking in the melodies and watching musicians perform. He wasn't just a spectator, he helped set up the stage, serve customers, and sometimes even play along with the bands. When Hilda gave him his first guitar at the age of 8, it wasn't just a gift, it was a doorway to his destiny. Those early experiences at the supper club instilled in him a passion for country music and a deep appreciation for hard work, two qualities that would define his life. Even as a child, Toby displayed determination and resilience. When the family moved to Moore, Oklahoma, and later to Fort Smith, he adapted quickly, learning the value of friendship, loyalty, and community. Sports also played a role in shaping him. In high school, he played football as a defensive end, a position that demanded toughness and perseverance. But life had other plans, and an injury ended his sports aspirations. Rather than giving up, he turned to his guitar, pouring his energy and ambition into music. By the age of 20, while working the grueling oil fields, he had started a band called Easy Money. This dual life, oil by day, music by night, taught him discipline, resilience, and a remarkable ability to handle pressure. Toby Keith's rise to fame was far from easy. The early 1980s brought financial instability, personal challenges, and countless rejections. After the oil industry crashed in 1982, Toby was forced to leave behind a stable paycheck and rely solely on his music. He played over 200 shows a year, traveling in vans, sleeping wherever he could, and earning barely enough to survive. His dedication was unwavering, and every small gig was a chance to improve his craft. He learned to read a crowd, adjust to any environment, and give every performance his all. Every small stage, every crowded bar, and every tiny audience contributed to his skill as a performer and his understanding of what fans wanted. Despite his efforts, success did not come immediately. In 1984, he spent all his savings to record a demo tape, only to face rejection from record labels. One promoter even scammed him out of $10,000, a devastating blow. Toby felt crushed and almost gave up. But it was his love for music, his determination, and the unwavering support of Tricia Lucus that kept him going. Returning to small studios, he experimented with blending traditional country with southern rock, creating a sound that would eventually define him. His breakthrough came when a flight attendant passed his demo to producer Harold Shedd, who finally recognized Toby's potential. In 1993, Toby Keith released his debut album. The first single, Should Have Been a Cowboy, was written in just 20 minutes in a motel bathroom. Yet it became the most played country song of the 1990s. The song's success was monumental, proving that Toby's authenticity and songwriting talent resonated deeply with audiences. Over the next few years, his albums went platinum, multiple singles topped the charts, and he became a beloved figure in country music. However, Toby's journey was not just about chart success. He faced constant pressure from record labels to change his style, wear suits, and conform to a commercial image. Toby resisted, staying true to his vision. This independence earned him respect from fans and fellow musicians alike. His refusal to compromise, combined with his raw, emotional songwriting, solidified his reputation as one of country music's most authentic voices. By the late 1990s, he had become a superstar, filling arenas, selling millions of albums, and leaving a lasting mark on the industry. Toby Keith was never afraid to speak his mind, and that courage extended beyond music. In 2002, following the 9/11 attacks, he released Courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue, a patriotic anthem that resonated with many Americans while drawing criticism from some. The song's controversial lyrics sparked heated debates, yet Toby remained steadfast, defending his work and standing by his principles. He became known not only as a performer but also as a patriot who used his voice to support his country. Over the years, he performed countless USO shows, visiting soldiers in Iraq, Afghanistan, and other conflict zones, bringing comfort and morale through music. His dedication to his fans and his country was matched by his generosity. Toby quietly donated millions to various charities, including children's hospitals and disaster relief efforts. Despite his fame, he preferred to keep these acts private, focusing on helping others rather than seeking recognition. His life was a testament to the idea that success is measured not just by wealth or fame, but by the positive impact one leaves behind. While Toby Keith's public persona was bold and fearless, his personal life was marked by deep love and devotion. His marriage to Tricia Lucus spanned 39 years, filled with shared dreams, challenges, and unwavering support. Tricia was his confidant, business partner, and caregiver during his illness. Their family life was deeply private, yet she was always there behind the scenes, making sacrifices and ensuring Toby could pursue his passions. Together, they raised 3 children, Shelley, Crystal, and Stellan, instilling in them the same values of hard work, perseverance, and love that Toby had learned from his own family. Even amid fame, tours, and public attention, Toby prioritized his family. Tricia's support during his